What's poppin', y'all? The Breakfast Club really skated out of a potentially catastrophic situation with this streamer Neon. Now, in the past, and I really held tightly to that title, I gave Neon the title of the worst streamer. And this was the era in which Neon was just doing, like, really saying despicable stuff, doing despicable stuff, and you guys know, I'm not somebody that gets offended by nearly anything, but it was just... It was lowest common denominator gutter content, like easy bait. But he went on The Breakfast Club, which is, why would you ever go there? I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. And they started off grilling him immediately. So I'm going to play you guys this first clip right here.
Said that you would fuck his mom and that she's a fat Harriet Tubman.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So not only did you disrespect Kai's mother, you disrespected Harriet Tubman?
Yeah, because, you know, like I said at the time, it wasn't really a thing where I just did whatever, what came to mind. Like, I was just like, the shock factor. Like, I wasn't thinking. Obviously, now that I'm in the real world now, I'm going out and experiencing stuff.
So here they just pulled up a highlight reel of every major clip that he said that was negative, and they attacked him for it. Now, keep in mind, Neon, he was the guy that blew up as a teen. If you guys remember, this was maybe not 10 years ago. This was like 6-7 years ago. There was a meme of this guy who had faked cancer and like faked that he died so he could blow up on YouTube. And he continued that. It wasn't like, oh, he was like 13, 14 and he didn't know, or even if he was 15, 16 and he just did a clout move. No, he continued to build upon that for years. And that's why I gave him that title, that very strongly held title that I haven't given anybody else yet. I do strip him of that now. Now, I don't know who I'm going to hand that title to now, but yeah, so they came at him for like the Kai and his mom situations which he has apologized for, but they kept on pressing him. Now, I will say the way that this went is just hilarious. She was just trying to destroy the guy. They were all underinformed on Neon, for sure. It was as if somebody that had seen Neon a couple of times, and you're like, yo, I saw you about this clip. Can you give me context on this? There was no research done beforehand. And it seemed like DJ Envy was actually interested, not only in Neon, but in how streaming worked. I would say he was the most curious and inquisitive, fair, balanced person there. Charlemagne was just trying to do the Charlemagne thing. He's trying to make fun of him. He's trying to have him apologize multiple times. He's like, nah, apologize on this platform. Yeah, apologize to Harriet Tubman's family too. Yeah, apologize to this person. So he was just trying to play him, and I don't think Neon saw through that. And then Lauren LaRosa, she was just, I would say she was just, Like, she shared one of her stories, which was, I think it was her mother or a family member of hers that had survived. I believe it was a brain tumor. And that's what Neon, like, had lied about years ago when he was a kid. And I think that, I would say, I wouldn't necessarily say she was very inquisitive or curious, but I don't think that she came out of malice. However, Just Hilarious did come out of malice. And that's when, and they were also wrong about so many things with streaming here. So Adin comes in. Now, Adin has an interesting history with Neon because he put Neon on. Neon thanks him throughout this. But there was, I would say maybe around 2023 or so, late 2023, early 2024, there was smoke. There was beef between, streamer beef, between Adin and Neon. And when Neon was the worst streamer, Adin just stopped messing with him. He's like, yo, this guy's got a huge ego. He's like, lost it. That's not the guy I know. I don't mess with him anymore. But Neon came around, like, he apologized to Adin. They patched things up and they came back cool. So Adin is not going to like it when his homie's getting attacked like this. So I'm going to play you guys this clip right now.
No, I feel like, I mean, at the end of the day, we're all normal people. We're all regular people. Like, nothing, we all die one day. Like, we're not different than anyone else. But, like, as a streamer, as a person, like, I don't feel like a top dog. You know, I don't feel like one of the biggest.
Wait, let's get into the chat, because Adin Ross, there's a comment pinned in here. He just commented and said, Neon, I promise you they trying to belittle you and disrespect you. You shit on all of them. They are weird as fuck them.
Talking about who?
Us. In here. The chat is live in the Breakfast Club.
Anyway,
what you
go
talking
ahead.
about?
That's what Adin Ross.
This is not Adin Ross's interview, so fuck him too.
But
here we go. So now
we're all friends, okay? You know, I think
pinned that.
He pinned the comment is pinned in the chat.
question.
I'm in the chat with the W's.
You feel like we trying to belittle you, Neon?
I think, you know, as you know, we should all come together and all just
They
spread.
also saying we raised it.
fuck all that kumbaya shit, Adin. Nobody cares
all right,
now.
come on, that's my guy.
I don't give Listen, Harriet Tubman, my aunt. You think I give a fuck? I don't give a fuck.
But
Okay?
you're comparing something now to like.
Now I'm not gonna lie, your chat is wild racist though.
Yo, stop right there.
They like,
yo,
fuck
they
this black
raised
monkey, watermelon, shit emojis.
I'm literally looking and I don't see any of that.
What? It says they race baiting. It says the short haired monkey, they race baiting.
Oh,
the
it's moving
Breakfast
too
Club.
fast. Whoa.
Walk out
Hold
neon.
on, wait. His phone, he can't see nothing. It's moving so fast.
And I
Fuck
guarantee
Breakfast
you,
Club.
any of your chat,
need some water.
if any
That's
of the
more
motherfuckers was here, they wouldn't say it at all. That's another thing about,
that's
streaming and
trolls.
just being behind.
You also have to understand this isn't
Go
my
on.
this is the internet. This is not just my chat, my community, right? This is the internet. The internet, just like me back then, would say whatever they want.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
this isn't like a representation of me, obviously.
But it's funny though, because the reality is,
It's not.
I know this is a bunch of kids in here who don't know no better. But if we were really assholes, we wouldn't have had you up here. And as soon as I heard about the Cenat thing, we'd have told you get the on. I mean, disrespecting somebody's mom and then saying that shit about Harriet Tubman. If we were really being assholes and really trying to belittle you, you'd have told you.
I understand that, man. I just feel like at the end of the day, you can't hold something against someone if they're changing and becoming a better person. And,
But
and
how
understanding.
do we know you're changing, and how
Well,
do you
you know, you
expect
don't-
people to really believe you when you build your whole
I understand it.
platform on being a liar?
Of course, and no one has to believe me. And at the end of the day, if you don't want to believe me, you don't have to believe me. But if you actually sit down and watch my streams and understand the growth, then you see it. And if you don't, it's
respect growth.
it's like at the end of the day, I'm not here to prove anything to people. I can do it the best I can. People could judge me. I don't care. I'm gonna.
Listen,
I think
People always
respect growth.
evolve. People
I
always
respect
evolve.
growth.
But-
Like, you
and if no
can't-
one wants
who
to-
I was at 21 is not who I am right
it also
now, and that's the
takes
same
a-
with you.
it
I respect.
I respect growth. I already told you that already. I respect
Yeah.
growth.
But
Aiden said-
there's no
That's
reason
respectable.
there's no reason for coming for someone for something that they apologized for 5 times,
You've grown.
and it was not the person who I am now, and it was years ago. So like, just coming for the same thing just doesn't.
People gonna ask you about it. You
Aiden
come
said-
in
No,
Hold on.
100%. But like, bring it up like 6 times. Like, come on.
Aiden
Like,
said,
what are we
ask
doing
why
here?
he cheated on his wife. Let's talk past. We've already talked about that.
Keep in mind, Neon came in on stream. So he's streaming this interview, and these guys are just like reading off of the chat, which is the most ridiculous thing ever. And then Jess Hilarious starts talking about like, yo, look how racist your chat is, and they're saying this, and that. And that is true. And that is the internet. And it's not just his chat. It's that the chat knows when the streamer is being treated well or being disrespected. So if they were really trying to treat him well and were interested and were curious and didn't come judgmental and really on some hate and stuff like just hilarious, they wouldn't be saying all that stuff. Now, that's not to say that them saying that is okay, but to act like that they're going to be saying this racialized, hateful stuff towards you guys, which they would be saying towards anybody. Let's keep that. And you put replace you guys with any other group. Make it a cast of Asians, make it a cast of Cambodians who are Asian, make it a cast of Aussies, make it a cast of British people, make it a cast of Indians, which they've talked about them more than anybody else. They would attack you in the same manner. It's because they feel like you're dissing their mans. And Aiden did that too. And we got to put some respect. This is what 4 Extra was expecting from Adam 22 when his hand blew off and people were talking about that and he was kind of laughing about the situation. Is Aiden's like, yo, or not Aiden. They diss Aiden. She's like, man, F Aiden. Just hilarious. And Neon says, whoa, we're all friends here. Like, he's trying to calm the situation. He's like, yo, you're not going to diss my mans. And he's not a confrontational person, but he wants to let them know you're not going to diss my mans. And then in front of me, and we're going to be buddy, and we're going to keep going with this interview. Like, you got to chill on that. And the funny part is, with this now, what I will say is I think people over-hated on the Breakfast Club here. Now, I'm not saying that they didn't deserve to be hated on for this, but they were over-hated because what I was looking for was, hey, there is a crossover here between hip-hop and Neon. And they also said that Neon got a deal with the record label as well. So I'm like, okay, that sounds interesting. And Jello, they did talk about Jello and the song Blowing Up, Swerve Bend That Corner, and how that blew up. And I will say one quality that I really liked about Neon in this interview is he's so liberal with giving credit and praise to other people. Like everyone, including me, I was like, yo, this guy blew up Tweaker by LeAngelo Ball, which gave him a rap career. And Neon's like, no, that's like, like it was on my stream, but it was an impromptu moment. And it was really like these clippers, like my guy, this guy, he blew it up. And that's not something that you see people do, man. Like, people really, they just like to take credit for things, even though they may not have done. And if people are already giving them credit, they're not going to go and shout out some other guy who's not even popular, and he's just a clipper, probably known in the clipping community, and give him credit. Like, that's a really good-hearted thing to do. So I got to give him credit there. But then they just didn't explore the music angle anymore. And I was like, yo, there's so much more to explore. You could talk about this guy's like favorite rappers, like his favorite rap beefs. Like, this is a hip hop platform. And they just continue to focus on just this lower level stuff. And perhaps it's because their audience is older that they focus more on this, because they're like, our audience is just going to like us if we knock on this guy. But Jess Hilarious says one of the most ridiculous things ever, because she came at Neon, and let me play you guys this clip.
Are the ones like Speed's just a different level.
Love Speed.
Kai production crazy. Aiden's the one that started the whole trend of bringing the people on stream, and craziest run I've ever seen in my life.
So there's a 4th spot still open.
So this isn't in the context here. Neon is talking about how, like, the top streamers, Kai, Speed, Aiden. And then she's like, yeah, I love Speed. Hold on. You're going at Neon, yet you're saying I love Speed, when Speed has one of the craziest clips in streaming history, where he's looking at Ash Cass's face and says, if we're the last 2 people on Earth, are you going to give me box? And then she's like, no. And he says, who's going to stop me? Which got him banned on Twitch for years, by the way. And I do think Adin Ross set him up. Like, Adin Ross could have pulled him out of that situation and prevented him from hitting the punchline of that joke. But there's that. There's also all the other, like, racial comments that Speed has had. Speed has one of the most, like, when you're talking about chats and she's saying, oh, like, your chat is saying monkey this and that, she must not have seen Speed's chat, and they're saying that to him. Now, he has that relationship with them, but she's acting like Speed is like a Disney character. I'm like, what the hell? She must just see him jumping over cars and doing backflips. But that just goes to show you how unprepared she is. Like, you're grilling this guy, Neon, for his chat. Not one of the aspects, you're grilling him for his chat. When you're saying I love Speed, when that dude's chat was crazy toxic. Now, I will say they weren't as militant as Aiden's, because they were just in the chat on YouTube and going crazy in the chat, and it stops there. But Aiden's chat, those guys were militant outside, like that Twitter community. Like, if you were messing with him or they didn't like you, they were running down on you. Not in person, but they would reveal everything about you and make your life quite a living hell. And I would say Charlemagne, he gives some perspective in this next clip where he talks about lessons.
A lesson that a lot of other screamers haven't learned yet, and that there is consequences to your actions and there's consequences to your words. So when you out in the street, people gonna try you. Like, you saw when AB got into it with that was the Adin Ross event, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like those guys that jumped your manager, like, shit is real. So it's like these guys that be talking slick online, people gonna see.
Oh yeah, no, there's definitely consequences.
I will say Charlemagne learned this the hard way. Like, Charlemagne used to talk crazy, and he's kind of letting the guy know, like, yo, I'm glad you learned this before me. Like, people have ran down on me. You know that there are consequences to this. And Neon even talks about, I think it was his manager or somebody else that had gotten jumped in LA, which is wild. And he said he still doesn't even know who did it. What that reminded me of was years ago when Russ got Adam 22 jumped after Adam 22, like when Russ was made the butt of the joke of hip hop. Adam 22 gets jumped, and he didn't even know, after a pedicure, I think, or a manicure. That's what made it even funny, after walking out of the nail salon. And he didn't know who did it for months on end, maybe a year before Russ let him know. And they had patched things up after that. So Charlemagne or Neon being not even knowing who did that to him, yeah, that's definitely got a way on you. But here is where these guys are completely wrong. And Charlemagne talks about positivity. So I'm going to play you guys that clip.
World, because when I look at Kai, when I look at Speed, like, those guys are like the top guys, and those guys are always positive. And so it makes everybody else want to be positive because they see them and they see that they've had a lot of success. So they not on a lot of the
I'm like, yo, what the hell are you guys talking about that positivity wins? This is the biggest ridiculousness ever. Maybe if you're already blown up, yeah, the positive angle is great and all that. But Doug, there's a reason why you guys didn't bring this guy on and just praise him and look at his accolades. You grilled him the entire time. It's what the hell? And then they're talking about like, yeah, Kai and Speed, they're really positive. There have been conflicts in their careers, and they blew up. Now that they've blown up, sure, they can be positive. They have the funds to do big events. But if you're on the come up, yeah, probably being toxic is going to blow you up quicker than anything else. Like, for example, Adin really blew up. It wasn't positive. Like, he blew up off of embarrassing rappers or putting them in compromising situations. Like, you know, the whole like rainbow type of stuff where he was acting super gay, and he's calmed that down a lot. But that's how he blew up, and people wouldn't necessarily call that positive, and he was toxic to a degree. The thing is, a lot of this audience is young teens. The lamest thing to young teens is positivity. Like, yo, come on. Like, we were all 13, 14, 15 at a certain point. Well, especially if you're a middle school age, like 12, 11 to 13, 14. Dog, at that point, all you want to see is negativity and BS and just toxic stuff. Like, yo, middle school kids, we were the worst. I would say that's probably the worst age. So the idea of, oh yeah, positivity is winning now, no. But if you are consistently just a troll, there's a difference between trolling and negativity. Like, trolling is very, very funny if it's done effectively. Like, for example, these people that, and this is why I don't like how trolling has become, is it gentrified? I don't know if gentrified is the right word here, because doesn't gentrified usually mean like white people, but trolling has spread to where people just take it as saying something outlandish or rude or disrespectful. Like, do you guys know who like Kit Boga is? Kitboga? There's like a whole genre. I don't know if he was the one that started, but I remember he was the most popular one, where these like Indian or maybe Nigerian like scammers from these centers call and they try to get him. They're trying to scam him, but he counter scams. That's a troll. So he's like, yeah, you know, I'm doing this thing. And he just keeps them on the phone for 6 to 8 hours, just like messing thing after thing up, exposing them. That's a troll. And that is positive because, hey, it's a scammer that's trying to scam you, but you're wasting a ton of his time. You're pretending to go along with what he's doing. He thinks you're dead serious, but in the end, you're just messing with him. That is a well-executed troll. And that is funny. And I would say that's positive too. But just saying like, yo, somebody's mother is ugly and she looks like this, that's not trolling. That's insulting. And people can find insulting funny, but let's not conflate the two, because trolling, when done properly, is an art. So Adin Ross reacted to this later. I'm going to play you guys that clip right now.
Neon, we had a conversation. Your PR lady definitely knew what was going on. She knew putting you here that they were going to talk about like that. And that's just not right. And I'll take a stand for it as well. I'm not trying to put you in another situation, but she definitely knew. Because guess what? When a manager or when a PR person lines something up for you, they always ask, well, what's going to be talked about? What's going to be? So you got to watch us trying to line you like that too, bro. Because that's not right. They put you in an uncomfortable ass position. I'm happy that Tav sent me the link to your stream. I tapped it and I started talking. Because once you started seeing my chat logs, you started to see that these people were just straight up being rude, hating, toxic, etc.
He is right here. I wouldn't necessarily say the PR lady set him up, but she didn't. Neon just didn't prepare well enough for this, because the exact same thing happened years ago with 6ix9ine, except 6ix9ine prepared. 6ix9ine had been watching Breakfast Club interviews. 6ix9ine was an academics fan. That guy was watching him throughout high school. So he's watched the Breakfast Club interviews and he prepped. And he's like, yo, I have a rebuttal and an embarrassment for every single question that these guys come at me with. And he absolutely spun those guys. They were unprepared. They were uninformed. And he clowned them and he made them look like jokes during that interview. It was a legendary performance. Even if you hate 6ix9ine, you got to watch that and you're like, wow, he embarrassed these guys. And Neon had the opportunity to do that if he had prepared. So everyone knows, like if you tell them, oh, Breakfast Club Neon interview, you know how it's going to go. You know how the Breakfast Club works. And you're not in the category of people that the Breakfast Club would bring on and praise. And even if they were going to praise you, they're going to throw some jabs here and there anyway. Because even in a genre like hip hop, they're going at people, even people that they like. There's slick comments here and there. And DDG, he reacted to this as well and gave his own comments. And DDG has been on the Breakfast Club.
I was at home, I can say whatever I want.
I don't know why this Neon went on the Breakfast Club. When I see them on that motherfucker, I'm like, bro, a nigga like Neon been on the craziest, like, how you say it, rebranding the out of himself, right? And then you go on the Breakfast Club, and they're gonna bring up everything, brother. I would just leave the rap media outlets alone, and just as a streamer, bro, you don't really need to do like podcasts and shit like that just because, unless it's like streamer related, because you your own PR. You feel me? Your own PR, bro. But nah, that was a bad move for him going.
DDG in this scenario, he knows how to handle the Breakfast Club. He grew up, he's a rapper as well. He grew up on this. Neon, he probably didn't grow up watching the Breakfast Club. Maybe he just saw the moments with Birdman or something like that. But other than that, he didn't come up on this. And he is right to a degree where he's like, hey, if, like, for example, if me just knowing the limited info that I know about Neon, never speaking to him personally, and I was his PR person, I'm not sending him to the Breakfast Club because I know that he's not going to prepare for the Breakfast Club to handle it the way it should be handled. And he thinks it's just going to be a regular interview. And Kai Cenat, who's the person that they were just drawing out this segment about like, oh, you said this about Kai and his mom and you need to apologize. And did you apologize? And Ray's man wanted to be Ray, Kai, the Asian homie or the Taiwanese guy that Kai messes with. He was gonna fight you about it and you apologized to him. And well, how about you apologize again now? So Kai reacts to this.
There's this thing right now. I seen some with Neon that was crazy. You know, I don't even speak on Neon. Because of what happened in the past, and that's okay. I'm entitled to feel how I want to feel because of what happened in the past, and that's fine. Whatever it's at, it's at. Seen him go on the Breakfast Club and they got killed, and that they was frying. But you feel me? Do I feel like they should have made it a more professional interview? 100%. But people from that think, and I seen Adin say that Neon and AMP got the same PR. No, we don't. The PR lady with Neon used to work with Davis. Davis so much of a real when Davis seen she went in your chat and she talked, he got rid of her. He said that was highly unprofessional. He didn't know what she doing. He got rid of her. So he cut her off because he seen her talking you in your chat. Unprofessional. We got rid of her. We do not have the same PR people. So any of that backdoor, that's great. That's actually lunatic that niggas like actually think that, in my opinion.
This is another example of how solid Kai is. So they're talking, because Adin was talking about, this was when they were having their issues. Adin, the static between Adin and Kai still hadn't been resolved. But he's talking about it like, yo, we don't have the same PR person, and we actually got rid of our PR person when we saw that she talked trash in your chat, who we're supposed to be having issues with because they felt like, oh, she lined Neon up because Kai doesn't mess with Neon. And Kai even lets it be known here. He's like, hey, look, I feel a certain type of way about this. And he didn't take the opportunity. He said it was crazy. They grilled him, but he didn't take the opportunity to dunk on Neon. He didn't take the opportunity to stomp him out. He's like, hey, we've got whatever we've got. I feel how I feel about it. He didn't even really give how he felt about it. But we know that, listen, he probably took the apology, but he's like, hey, this is not a guy that I can be cool with. And he can stay over there and I can stay over here. And I'm not going to say anything negative about him. And that's the mature way to handle this. You're allowed to, you don't have to take someone's apology, but you can decide to, just distance yourself. And I think even Neon would understand that. Like, I don't see Kai being cool with that guy because Kai seems like he actually has standards where it's like, hey, you cross this type of bridge, so you stay over there. That's it. And we don't have to have smoke, but we're not going to be buddy-buddy and cool after that. And I think that's fair. Like, Neon, this was just a moment that's going to pass. They grilled him so hard that he was supposed to make a big announcement that he didn't make. And even after this whole situation, like I said about Envy earlier, Envy decided to put out a TikTok explaining what had happened because Neon's team, or not Neon's team, but his crew, his guys in the chat, they decided to go in on a lot of these people, Adin's team as well. So I'm going to play you guys this clip from Envy.
Neon came on the Breakfast Club today, and it's kind of funny because he said some wild shit to people in the past.
Adin Ross, there's a comment pending here. He just commented and said, Neon, I promise you they trying to belittle you and disrespect you. You on all of them. They are weird as fuck. Fuck them.
Talking about who?
Us. In here. The chat is live in the Breakfast Club.
Oh
boy. Anyway, go ahead.
But he opened up and said, yo, look, I was a troller. I just said anything to anybody. He never thought he was going to run into him, and it got him bread, right? It got him likes. It got him views. But he's changing that now because I think he realized a couple of things. And things that I think I should have realized earlier, asking people wild questions on the Breakfast Club and doing stupid things, is you got to see these people face to face, and your whole image has to change. And that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to change his image. He doesn't want to be that bad guy anymore. He doesn't want to be the troll. And he has to repair all those relationships because he said some wild stuff about some wild things. And like we told him today, some of those things that he said should have got him punched in the mouth. But the kid is doing well. He's only 20 years old. He's learning. So I wish him the best. I mean, the only thing that he listens to his chat too much. And if the chat says something, he does it. But I would just tell that young man, keep doing what you're doing, making money, support your family. And if you're evolving for the right reasons, keep doing it. Because a troll is just a troll until they see somebody in public. And what does a troll usually do outside of that? They run. So salute to Neon, man.
I think Envy was very interested here, in particular with the money aspect, because he was like, yo, how much you guys make? Or is it from sponsors? And then Neon doesn't want to give out too much information. But Envy seemed very, very curious, which is interesting to me. Like, you got Envy here on TikTok. I don't know how much of the other guys are on TikTok, although TikTok has matured as a platform now. And by maturity, I mean the user base is there now. It's not as if Envy was there, 4 or 5 years ago or so. So I think Envy was fair here. I don't think he should get the same level of hate that a Just Hilarious, for instance, got. I think she was just grimy, bad faith, just terrible. It leaves a really bad taste in your mouth. And I haven't really seen too many great things. I haven't seen too many things from her that either wow me or make me say, oh, I like this person. But I haven't watched many of her full interviews, so I'm not going to put out a full judgment on her as of yet, like she decided to do to this guy Neon. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. And I'm going to see y'all on the next one.